So now please turn to liturgies. Kurt. Those of you who are using the PDF, this is the exceedingly brief Guru Puja, Ajigdan Sumgan. Because we still have different translations, hello, is it coming up? Okay. Yeah, definitely don't like. I have no idea. He put it on.
Can we close?
Is it upside down?
No, it's a.
Yeah, no. Definitely no. At least the other one I was trying to eat it. This one I tried to get rid of.
It's just.
Yeah. It's like having another head. No.
Well, gotta order another one. Third time's the charm.
You have 2 weeks. Yes, as I was saying, because we have slightly different English translations for this particular practice, so we are going to offer this practice in Tibetan. As I've said in the past, obviously, when it comes to doing our practices, before anything else, before considering anything else, knowing what we are practicing and knowing what we are saying or chanting, in my opinion, is the first kind of the first thing to try to make sure. Yeah? To me, there's no question about that. Having said that, a footnote, there are different views. But if you ask me, knowing the meaning is the first point to consider. So there is a Vajra statement, the Gongchik, that says with regards to the issue of taking empowerment, when do you know you have successfully taken an empowerment? Jigden Sumgen has a Vajra statement that says, an empowerment is successfully taken, or the empowerment is successfully received when the meaning of the empowerment has turned up. In other words, when you understand. And then to understand, you have to at least understand the words, right? Now, hearing the words don't directly translate to understanding the meaning. But not hearing the words, going to be very hard to get the meaning. So, for that reason, I'm fairly sure that first we have to know the words, and then of course you have to learn, right? Those words that are being used is used in particular ways, leading to a set of meanings. Then having said that, that's not the only consideration. Because meaning can come not limited to words. Words are really important. There's another set of meanings that can occur because of, in this context, for lack of a better word, the choreography involved. you know, because after all, it's a ritual. And ritual is a type of theater. Yeah, it's a type of theater. Why do we say it's a type of theater? Like theater, you could say ritual is what? With regards to the issue of belief. What is theater? And ritual?
Suspension of disbelief.
Suspension of disbelief. What else? And in other words, make believe that you deliberately enter into. Right? No one is fooling you. Yeah, no, well, most people, when they go to a theater, they're not being fooled. Like, this is a performance. Then there is good theater and bad theater. Good theater can transport you, transform you, and take you to a different place, even though it's make-believe. We all suspend disbelief. So when you have, like, as a device in theater, right? The what do you call stagehands, right? Dressed in black, walking in and carrying the props. You don't go, wait, who's that? I mean, we all see that that's going on, but you don't go, oh, this is not real, I'm going home. I mean, in fact, you said that, you know, everyone is like, what is wrong with this guy? Like, yeah, of course. So that's how ritual works also. Yeah? So when we say, oh, I visualize this, I visualize that, now we do this, and when we pick up this, it means this, it means that. It's not that different from theater. What happens in theater? Now, our modern movies is a particular trajectory of the theater that is aiming for realism. But even that, we all know is not real. But it would be a mistake to enter into ritual and expect the realism of most movies and TV programs. Then you'll be really disappointed, because it's not real enough. But even in the realism of modern movies, you know, TV, we still know, like, that's not real. That's staged. Right? So anyways, so for ritual, there's also other ways of receiving meaning. So there it comes from attitude. It also comes from, you only need to know roughly what is happening. Just like I cannot tell you how many plays I have gone to. I roughly know what's going on. Walking in there. And I find that I have to read up. Otherwise, I'm just lost. I can't keep track of what's going on. So, knowing roughly the plot, so to say. And so then even when it's in a different language, if you roughly know the plot, you get more out of the experience. Another reason then, in this case, you know, other than the practical reason, the Tibetan is the only common words that we have right now for doing this. Also remember that this is an offering. So we can think of it as, this is our offering, right? To whom? Well, of course, to the Buddhas, to the Bodhisattvas, right? To the objects of refuge. But on a relative level, also, this is an offering to the Tibetan people. Why is it meaningful here? Because not only are we receiving the Dharma through them, right? Coming through them, but they are a culture under attack. Yeah? So it's doubly meaningful that from time to time we can do the practice in Tibetan. How about as an offering to them? And you're like, well, they're not here listening. It's a different level of making an offering. You know? So after all, this practice is the practice of making offering to the Guru. And so many generations of the Guru, you know, our particular practice came through Tibetan bodies, came through Tibetan words, came through Tibetan thoughts. And so there's another layer of meaning here, why it's okay we offer this in Tibetan. But as we all know, primarily at you know, our practices here, we're more likely to do it in English than we do it in Tibetan. And just like at other places, they're more likely to do it in Tibetan than to do it in English. And then in some places, within one practice, they will do a section in English and then do the section in Tibetan. Then do the section in English, then do the section in Tibetan, or the other way around. At this point, I cannot stand that. I think it just breaks up the whole ritual, the theater part. You know, it really breaks up the theater part. I think it should be one or the other. I mean, imagine going to an opera, you know. Someone sings in Italian and then someone comes out and sings in English. You're like, no, just put the big screen translation there. I'll read that, you know. But these are all experiments that we all necessarily have to do. And as long as we understand that we're experimenting, whichever your community end up doing, I think that's fine. The most important thing is sincerity and humility and curiosity. As we figure out, you know, how are we going to translate the Dharma into our lives? But look at it this way. Maybe we will not come to any conclusion in our lifetime. But that's okay. Next generation of American Buddhists, maybe their lifetime, they will arrive at a place where they are confident, indeed we should do it this way. And we talk a lot about incalculable eons, many lifetimes, right? But sometimes we practice our practice so fixated on, what am I going to get out of this? And only think, now, me, right? Then that is completely the opposite of why even do offerings? Why even make an offering? Yeah, so anyway, just a few words about how to think about, you know, when we do our practices. What is the language involved? Then another layer of this is within the context of our Sangha. So many of you, English is not your first language. And there is another layer. So anyway, the exceedingly brief Guru Puja. So here basically the plot, so to say, is as usual we begin by taking refuge, generating bodhicitta, saying that we're going to do this, right? For the sake of liberating wandering beings. Then we bless and cleanse the offerings. The offerings that Guru Puja means making offerings to the Guru. Then, after the cleansing and the blessing of the offerings, then the main part of the practice is, it says, you arise as the idam, So whoever your yidam is for you, you arise in the form of the yidam. Then in the space in front is the guru, surrounded by all the objects of refuge. Basically, that's what's being described. Then the guru here appears in the form of Kyoba Jigten Sumgön. But yes, the immediate reference is, of course, the 12th century person who founded the Gyugung Kagyu. But Kyoba Jigten Sumgön is the embodiment of the entire principle of the guru, the guide, the teacher. So all guides, all teachers, that point the way to awakening, to enlightenment. That's what Jigten Sumgön represents. I was translating, or pretending to translate, some words of Jigten Sumgön on the four dharmas of Gampopa. In this one text, there are three texts in the collected teachings. The middling, the short, and the very, very, very long. Very, very, very long. It's like 100 pages. The middling has been translated. So I was looking at the very brief, and in there it says that as introduction to the four dharmas teachings, it says Pamodrupa was commemorating the passing away of his teacher Gampopa, and he gave the four dharmas during that time. Yeah, this is Jigten Sumgön talking. Then Jigten Sumgön said, Pamodrupa said, in observing Gampopa's passing away, which is the anniversary of the passing, they call it the Deju. It's like the offering on the passing, the Deju. And Pamodrupa says that, basically Gampopa's Deju is a stand-in for the Deju of all the lineage gurus. And that you should do the offering with that understanding. That means the anniversary of the complete liberation, or the anniversary of the complete liberation. When ordinary beings died, it's like, oh, that's really bad, But when a great being like Gampopa is basically like the Buddha attaining complete nirvana, and that, the meaning of that event is that now completely suffering is transcended. So then Gampopa's, and then for that matter, by extension, if you're observing Jigten Sumgön's passing, if you're observing Lama Tsongkhapa's passing, if you're observing Karmapa's passing, you should do it with the attitude that this day represents the complete passing beyond suffering of all the awakened beings. And so even again on the surface, you're doing the Gampopa practice, but it's not the Gampopa's personality cult. Now, likewise, when we do Jigten Sumgön Guru Yoga, it's not the Jigten Sumgön personality cult. Ooh, Jigten Sumgön. But it's just that we are Drigung Kagyu practices. We do Drigung Kagyu practices, so then within this tradition, more often than not, when we are making offerings to the Guru, it's in the form of Jigten Sumgön. So we should think of it like this. So, liturgies, page 1.